Mets fans, there is a major update relating to the Garrett Crochet sweepstakes. It's very interesting. You're going to want to hear about it. We'll get right into that right here on the True Mets Talk podcast. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy CP. We are in full winter meetings mode as it is day 3, and we have a major update on Garrett Crochet and what his trade market could look like for the New York Mets, as they are considered, per Ken Rosenthal, as very aggressive suitors to land this 25-year-old ace from the White Sox. Before we get into the latest report, please do hit the thumbs up on this video. As usual, subscribe to the channel for more Mets offseason content, polls, streams, and more. And make sure to drop your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. Okay, here's the latest report. Per SNY, an article was released of a certain or a specific MLB executive that took to an interview to state that their team is out on Garrett Crochet. Now, again, we do not know who this MLB executive is. We don't know which MLB team it is, but we know that this team was in on Garrett Crochet and now is confirmed to be out on the Crochet sweepstakes, because the confirmed asking price, according to this one executive, is not 2 top 10 prospects plus a lower tier prospect going back in return to the White Sox, but it's actually starting at 3 top 10 prospects and probably even another throw-in, whether it's an MLB-ready player or perhaps even a lower tier prospect, which begs the question, does this change the minds of not only Mets fans, but also the president of baseball operations for the Mets, David Stearns, as he is continuously speaking with White Sox GM Chris Getz about how they could make this deal and get this deal done during these winter meetings. Now, in addition to this latest report of one particular team being out on Crochet, the Padres are also talking about shopping Dylan Cease and potentially using the return that they get for Dylan Cease to go ahead and get Garrett Crochet, and potentially involving themselves to get the extra year of control that Garrett Crochet has on his contract in comparison to Dylan Cease. So that would only add to the competition for these Garrett Crochet sweepstakes alongside the Mets. As of yesterday, the Red Sox were not apparent aggressive suitors, and presumably with the addition of Max Fried, the New York Yankees could be out on Garrett Crochet, as they were said to be in on him prior to that record Max Fried contract that they gave out for 8 years. Okay, so let's say in a scenario, the asking price is too much for David Stearns. We all know the options are getting limited in terms of the free agents available. You got Sean Manaea. There's a lot of steam picking up in terms of the Mets having a reunion and re-signing Sean Manaea, whose contract could get up to $100 million over the course of 4 years. And you have a couple other trade candidates that could present themselves on the market. Keyword could. And we've been talking about those options on all of our streams, whether it's, you know, the Mets Hot Stove Lives, any individual streams I do on this channel. But I haven't really talked about these two names that also could be on the market given the situations of their respective teams. And I wanted to give you all this option to get a feel for how Mets fans would react if the Mets were in on any or either of these two guys. Okay. Miami Marlins left-handed pitcher Jesus Luzardo and Minnesota Twins right-handed pitcher Pablo Lopez, again, could be available via the trade market. Now, I do want to preface this by saying there are no solidified reports that these two teams are actively shopping these two guys. But with the nature of the Twins being willing to potentially shop Carlos Correa, and we just saw a trade go down last night of the Miami Marlins sending Jake Berger over to the Texas Rangers, I believe. These two teams could be sellers in terms of asking for prospect capital in return, and they would be cheaper options in terms of what the Mets would have to give up to acquire the services of both Luzardo, or either, I should say, Luzardo or Lopez. Let's get into a little bit of an outlook of these two pitchers because it's kind of a tale of two tapes. Let's get into the more solidified guy here in Lopez, especially over the past couple of seasons of him in a Minnesota Twins uniform. He had a down year in 2024, but still it was more than respectable. 4.08 ERA, 185 innings pitched, actually north of that, and a 9.6 strikeout per nine rate to go alongside his 2024 campaign. Again, a proven, I want to say veteran pitcher, but he's really only 28 going on 29 years old. So he's also entering the prime of his career. And his contract is such that he signed a multi-year deal with the Minnesota Twins. I believe it was a 4-year deal at the time. And he is owed $21.75 million over the course of the next 3 seasons, which at this point, given the market for free agent pitchers, would be a bargain in terms of trading for a guy of Lopez's caliber with that type of contract, right? That's really considered low AAV for what Lopez has put out the last couple of seasons. He was an all-star in 2023. And again, he's a workhorse, posting north of 175 innings pitched over the last 3 seasons at least. And he's also a guy that we've seen a lot of in a Miami Marlins uniform before he went over to Minnesota. So that's option 1 that I wanted to propose to you all. Option 2 would be Jesus Luzardo, and he's a little bit more of a guy that you are projecting out to be potentially a number 2, or perhaps even on the higher side, a co-ace given his arsenal and given his stuff. Now, Luzardo is the opposite of Lopez, given the concerns of injury. You're talking about a back, forearm, elbow, all that stuff to go along with Jesus Luzardo that forced him to only pitch 66.2 innings pitched in 2024. He had a really down year for the Marlins, 7.8 strikeouts per nine. Again, that's a vast difference when you're talking about the strikeouts per nine rate between Lopez and Luzardo, and the walks also were a full percentage point for Luzardo in contrast to Lopez. But again, you're talking about projectability here. We know what David Stearns likes. The advantage also is if you want to add another lefty starter, Luzardo is a lefty in comparison to Lopez being the righty. Let's get into the arsenal real quick of Luzardo before we finish out this podcast, because I don't want to be on here too much. I just wanted to introduce these two names at surface level. Luzardo has a four-seam fastball, slider, changeup combination, and a sinker as his fourth pitch. And if we know anything about David Stearns, is that, you know, he likes sinker ballers. And again, this could be a Sean Manaea 2.0, because we know that Sean Manaea, having immense success in 2024, used that sinker a lot. And if the Mets, in any case scenario, again, not saying it's going to happen, were successful in getting Luzardo, I would expect that sinker usage to go up by a wide margin. But again, you're talking about two tails of the tape. Luzardo and the projectability. He's 26 going on 27. Both of these guys are fairly young. And Luzardo in his contract is actually in arbitration mode for the next 2 seasons. So you have that advantage in terms of that contract and not having to pay the $21.75 million. Again, projectability versus a veteran sure thing guy here is the difference between Luzardo and Lopez from what I'm estimating. And these are pivot fallback options if, as we stated earlier, the Crochet return that the White Sox are looking for is too much. So let me know what you think, Mets fans. Are you still confident in the Mets swinging a deal for Garrett Crochet? Would you still like to go down that route, even though they're asking for 3 top 10 prospects instead of 2? Let me know in the comment section. Appreciate you all. Until next video, peace out.
Thank you for watching the True Mets Talk podcast. Make sure you're tapping on that notifications button and checking out all the latest content on the channel. Thank you.